Hi, I'm Glen Ledwell and this is Abundant Entrepreneur TV. Today on the show I've got the incredible Mr. Bob Doyle. Now Bob, you're a true abundant entrepreneur, I think we could say, to the core.
That's very nice of you to say.
But no, the reason I have Bob here today is we're actually in the beautiful Sedona. We've been masterminding with a fabulous group this weekend, and Bob and I over the years, we constantly run into each other at masterminds. We do each other's masterminds. So I thought it would be really relevant for us to talk about how important it is to surround yourself with the right people with going to things like masterminds. So Bob, we've got a kind of an interesting story. I was thinking about it earlier today. What, 7 years ago when The Secret came out?
I know, can you believe it? Something like that.
It's like that. And I remember seeing this amazing person, Bob Doyle. He was unbelievable. He was one of the people in the movie that I really resonated towards. And of course, then a couple of years later, just by thinking abundantly, taking the right action and really getting out there, what did I attract? Bob into my life. So then a couple of years later, not only are we friends, we hang out all the time, we're constantly masterminding. So it's really just proof, I suppose you'd say, that if you just think in the right way, you really can attract the things you want, even in business, or predominantly in business.
Yeah.
So Bob, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, when you really felt that you become a real, true abundant entrepreneur?
Well, when I struggled for years, a lot of people do know my story, but I struggled for years trying to make money. I had corporate jobs, that kind of thing, but I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur because I was a terrible employee. You know, I just wanted creative control over everything I did, and I think that's the entrepreneurial spirit to a great degree. But I was struggling, and that's when I learned kind of about the law of attraction, which of course is what I'm most known for. And that's when I really started recognizing my own limiting beliefs around money. Even though I wanted to be abundant in general in life, I had grown up with a lot of ideas that money was hard to come by, that there'd always be debt, all the things that I learned basically from growing up in that environment, so that became real. As I was learning about the law of attraction and recognizing how those beliefs were literally repelling my ability to make money, then I could be more intentional about creating a shift. So, as I said, I'd been wanting to start my own business. That I knew, but everything I did, it just failed. Not attracting customers, it just seemed hard, all of that. Once I started doing the work on creating an abundant mindset, with all the typical stuff that you talk, it was way before there was a Mind movies, you know, I was like creating wallpaper on my computer, you know, that type of thing, my own version of vision board type things. And you know, I literally took a screenshot of my bank statement, which was pathetic, you know, and changed all the numbers in Photoshop and put it there. So that really did actually work to start changing my mindset. I started really visualizing and going into homes that I had no ability to afford at that time, but actually like I was experiencing them as my own, and driving the cars, all the stuff I talked about in The Secret, you know, that really did work to start to create that mindset. And as I did that, you know, I think the important thing about, and I try to communicate this to people when they start out in business or, you know, creating themselves out in the world, especially like in the personal development space, you know, instead of having the mindset that, oh, one day I'm going to be like so-and-so, you know, like I want to be as successful as so-and-so, I really stepped into being, I am that.
Yep.
Like this is who I am, and it's not ego, right? It's about just stepping into your power. Like, so when I got the law of attraction, like I really got it, like on a cellular level. Yeah. It became difficult to my work became, how do I put this into words, you know? But what I told myself is that who I am is an excellent communicator of these principles who will reach people who really need to hear it, you know, who are willing to hear it, ready to hear it. And if every day that's who I was, and oh, of course, abundance was built in. I'm going to be really successful. I'm going to make money. You know, I'm going to create a lifestyle for myself that I really want. It wasn't just about, you know, I'm going to be this person. But
and you started coming from a place of service as well, obviously.
Yeah, definitely, because I had my own breakthrough, and that's so key. You know, especially in this space, it has to be about service. Yeah. And in fact, my best financial year, my first big, huge year, was a year when I wasn't paying attention to money at all. Yeah. Like I totally wasn't thinking about it. Yeah. It was about how can I better serve these people. I was doing creative things, you know, really getting feedback from them. How can I make the experience better for them? And I literally, Glenn, I looked at my bank account one day and went, whoa, where did this, I mean, seriously, it was that. So, but I was always in the conversation of abundance because it was the law of attraction. That's why people were coming to me. Sure. So one of the great built-in effects of being in that space is I'm constantly reminding other people and myself about the importance of an abundance mindset. But to go back to your original question, you know, as soon as I started putting that stuff out there, it was well received. And the more I stepped into my power of this is who I am, and abundance is a part of it, just the more it snowballed, and it just, you know, and then the secret happened. And then
it just comes, yeah. It just comes. I remember for years, you know, struggling, and similar thing. It's like people that are successful, or more successful than you, say the same thing. You know what? When it just comes, when it starts, it's like an avalanche.
Yeah.
And it's just, and that would have been your moment then. And then you find, then you get into this flow, and this flow. And the more you're thinking, oh my God, this is amazing, then this is more amazing, this is more amazing. It just is a part of how, how do you describe that? I mean, I know it's keeping in flow, but it's like getting into a zone, and it just builds and builds and builds, you know?
Yeah, but the danger, and I'll just share with you, be transparent here, when I had that really first big year and saw that, I was like, there was a little piece of me that kind of freaked out a little, like, right. You know, like the old stuff came up, like, do I deserve this? What happened here? You know, and I think that's going to happen for people. You know, you just
absolutely,
stuff comes up, and so you have to rein it in. You have to do whatever it takes to do that. And one of the things that was key for me about that was, so I'd been a solo all my career, even up to The Secret. I was just doing everything myself, you know. But then once The Secret happened and I got busier, there was a lot that was changing. Just because I do mostly my stuff at the internet, it was so easy in 2002. You send emails, people get them, they open them, they read them, they buy stuff. I mean, it was easy. But around 2007, 2008, all that really just started changing. And I realized that not only can't I do this all by myself and just use my own ideas anymore, I don't want to. You know, I don't want to be spending my time trying to figure all this out. So that's when I really started to reach out and start touching other people and really listening again. When I first started, I was modeling other people, you know, some of the other marketers and that type of thing. And then I found my own way, and I went like that, and it worked for a while. And then I was realizing, you know, even after a great year, it didn't work the same way. And that's when the whole idea of a mastermind, and I'll be honest, I resisted it. You know, I was like, I don't want to work with other people. You know, you know, it was like, really, I just thought it worked so well up to this point. What am I going to learn from these other people that I don't already know, and all that stuff? But all it took was really going to my first one to go, oh, I'm going to learn that and that and that and that, plus the relationships and just everything about that.
And I mean, it just comes back to that. I mean, when you were saying that about, you know, when you really realised, and you were saying you started to model people, but then you start to model you become. I think when you're doing that, that transition is when you do start, your group of people are the people you're modelling. Or somewhat.
Yeah, no, you know? Absolutely. Like, because I felt so successful. That was like the most successful I'd ever been in my life. I felt that. And then you get into a room with people who are more successful. And
you're like, oh. I guess I'm not that big a deal at all.
Well, there is that thought. But then you realize that, but if I listen to these people and just try some of their stuff, I mean, you know, you still got to find what works for you. You know, it's not about, well, if Glenn does this and if I do that exactly, it's going to work, because it may not.
Exactly.
But I listen to, you're a great example. I've learned a ton from you. You know, and I go, okay, well, I'm not going to do it exactly that way, but I get the idea around it. I get, you know, the philosophy, and how can I make that Bob Doyle's thing? So that next year I come back to the mastermind and share how I took Glenn's thing and made a Bob Doyle's thing, and maybe it'll work for you. That kind of thing.
And it's just amazing that we've been talking about that a lot this weekend. You know, the way that this industry, like no other, is truly abundant. Like, you know, we're so-called competitors, and the people you want to, should do, and are hanging out with the most are your direct competitors, helping each other for this greater good. It's just the most amazing. I still pinch myself. You know?
Yeah, I've seen that. That's really embarrassing. Actually. But. Yeah, no, I agree. It is, because everybody in this type of situation has that abundant mindset, or they want it.
Or they want it.
Might. If they can get themselves into a mastermind like this, they may be starting out. The mastermind that we just completed, you know, there were people at all stages of building their business and things, and it's interesting to watch the shift in them as they, like, the way they're thinking just suddenly goes,
it changes.
Like, they thought they were thinking big already. Like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to charge this, and it's like, no. If you really want to charge this, and then you watch them just go, you watch them grow right there. It really just,
amazing.
The process of masterminding becomes a personal development event, not just a business event.
Totally, absolutely. And you know what? That's a lot of what we're trying to do here with the Abundant Entrepreneur Movement, is really try to be that group, that network, even those mentors, you know, for people that are starting out. And we all know what it's like starting out.
Yeah.
You know, you get this information, this is all salesy, doesn't really resonate with you, or you got to pay a ton of money for it. And it's like this is how, you know, my partner Dharma rose, and I came up with this whole idea about trying to serve our group, you know, so.
Because it all comes around.
All comes around.
I mean, and that's what, you know, I think a lot of industries they're not there yet. Like they don't understand how helping and sharing and all that really comes around and helps them grow. I mean, I'm sure that's been your experience. I mean,
100%.
Yeah.
100%, and you know, like I said, I pinch myself, actually, don't really pinch myself, but about this industry, it really is like that. I mean, you think, I always go real world, our world, I mean, meaning this online community, you know, it's just amazing. So Bob, that's about all we've got time for today. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure.
For spending a few minutes with us. And guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. We certainly enjoyed making it for you. Stay tuned for the next one. I'll talk to you soon.